Hey, enlightened women, how are you? Welcome to Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K for Midlife Musings. Today is Monday, September the 18th, 2023. Here we are almost at the end of September, and I can hardly believe it. Can you? Woo! We need to just stop and take a moment and acknowledge how many days we have already lived in this year, how many things we have faced, how many things we've overcome, how many things we've gone through and come out on the other side. We may still be dealing with some stuff, but we are still here. That's worth celebrating. That's worth giving yourself a hug and patting yourself on the back and giving yourself a round of applause. Bravo, bravo. As Letticy says, if nobody else is going to acknowledge you and your amazing, brilliant self, then give yourself a round of applause. Bravo, bravo. So, welcome to the 18th day of the ninth month in this year. Wow. And welcome to Mondays in the Meditation Room, because then I have to say, oh my God, what a blessing it has been for us to gather since January all the way to September. Man. And of course, we took some days off. Of course, we took some breaks, but still, here we are in September, and we are still gathering as the Enlightened Woman Tribe on Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K. So, welcome. Whether you are joining me live or you're watching in the replay, know that your voice is important. We're having a conversation. This is the place for all things enlightenment and empowerment for Black women in midlife and beyond. So, welcome. We are in the midst of, yeah, Crystal, bravo. Great evening, sisterhood. Let me just stop one more time to say, if you're just signing on, I was just saying, welcome to Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K for Midlife Music, and that we need to acknowledge that here we are, Monday, September the 18th, 2023. And even if you are in that place where you're lamenting what you haven't done, what you don't yet have, and the goals you haven't made, or maybe some disappointments of a dream deferred, that you need to stop and celebrate yourself, because you have gone from January of 2023 to September of 2023. And I was saying, you need to stop and celebrate yourself. Clap for yourself, girl. Tap, give yourself a pat on the back and a that a girl and whatever else you can think of to celebrate yourself, that you've already accomplished some things, even if you're not thinking about it because your head's been down and you just been going. You've already overcome some stuff. You made it through some hard things you didn't have think you would make it through. You may have had to grieve and say goodbye to some things and some people. You may have to make some tough choices and some changes. You may have been through surgery and sickness. You may have been through some stuff. I don't even know why I'm saying may. No, you've been through some stuff. If you are still here, you've been through some stuff and you are still here and still thinking that it's important for you to do something for yourself, which is Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K for Midlife Music, for hanging out with the Enlightened Woman Tribe and growing. So, yay, say, hey, give me a shout out in the comments, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay, because we come back and we revisit it. And we would love to hear from you. So welcome. I'm so glad y'all here. Hey, how y'all doing? How you feeling? How you been? Woo, go ahead and share. So I want to give us some time and space to continue with our radical reset conversations that we've begun in the month of September and are going to continue on through to the year of 2023. At least that's the plan as it is right now. Things can change, and I'm flexible and I go with the flow. That has been my mantra for almost 2 years. The Holy Spirit gave to me to focus and flow. Focus on that which is most important and to flow with the leading of the Holy Spirit. So, right now, our plan is to continue with our radical reset conversations, and we have started in the month of September with the radical mindset reset, right? Hey, I'm glad to hear it. Crystal says she's feeling great. What a wonderful, wonderful testimony and declaration and celebration. I'm feeling great. That's good. Amen. And sometimes we need to stop and get quiet and figure out how we're feeling. Sometimes we don't even realize what we're feeling and give voice and word to our emotions and what we're feeling in the moment, whether we need to just sit with it or adjust it. Throughout the day, we need to take a temperature. We need to take an assessment of what we're feeling because there may be something that we need to adjust, we need to change, we need to create that boundary and wall. There may be something that we need to do based on how we are feeling. And I'm not saying that you are led by your feelings. You are not. Your feelings are just to locate you wherever you are, and then you get to determine what you need to do with those feelings, and make sure you are not making decisions based only on what you're feeling in that moment. So I'm glad to hear somebody say, I'm feeling great. Hey, go ahead and encourage one another. So, our September topic has been radical mindset reset. And why is it so important for us to start with our mindset? Because anything else that follows after that, it can only be as fruitful and successful as our mindset about us, about ourselves, about what we're going through. Your mind and what you are thinking and what you are thinking about will determine what follows, what goals you set, what dreams you have, what changes or transformations you want to see in your life. And we're talking about resetting, right? Whatever area of your life you want to reset, your mind has to be reset first because it's going to take how you think about yourself, and the way you are thinking to allow you to make the changes and the transformations that you want to make. So let's review real quickly because we started out and we gave a particular definition of what reset is, according to dictionaries. It's basically to set again or anew. And Mondays in the meditation room, our enlightened woman definition for reset is the freedom to set your focus again on what matters to your purpose and your well being. The freedom. And I was just so, I felt such a kinship and alignment with the spirit when I heard that definition to reset means the freedom, because a lot of times as women we don't give ourselves permission, or think we don't have permission, or don't think we can, or we don't walk in our own agency or autonomy to determine what's most important for us in this season in our lives and set our focus on that. We're often told and conditioned to put other things and other people before us, other people's emotions and well-beings and comfort above our own. And so when we're talking about a radical reset, which is what midlife is, which is what wherever you are on the continuum of the pause period, menopause, postmenopause, in this season, it really is a reset, whether we want to or not. How we respond to this season will determine how you flow through the season and how you come out of it. And so we wanted to start with having these radical reset conversations dealing with our mind. And we start with by saying to reset is the freedom. Say it with me, y'all. The freedom. Woo, the free. Woo, something happened every time I say that word. The freedom to set your focus again on what matters to you, your purpose, and your well being. And so we started with our mind because that's where it starts. The battle happens here, right? Woo. And so our goal is to maintain a purpose filled life. What joyous, adventurous life. And but it starts with our thoughts. And so we talked about the fact that we are not our thoughts. Our thoughts might govern our behavior because they affect our feelings, which then in turn affects our behavior or our actions. We talked about the fact that it's a triangle, right? Of thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and then behavior and actions, and they all affect one another, right? So you are not going to have feelings without having a thought that's causing the feelings. And 9 times out of 10, when you have behavior or you make decisions to create actions, is as a result of what you've been feeling, right? You don't just all of a sudden start going off on people or all of a sudden feel a certain doing certain things or having certain behavior. It comes from some thoughts that you've been ruminating on and then allowed to create emotions that cause those actions. And that's whether it's good or bad, right? And so, what do we do with those thoughts? We talked about learning how to edit your thoughts, meaning to alter, adapt, or refine or realign your thoughts to God's thoughts towards you and your reason for being. Because if you don't have any idea or thoughts of your worth, or your purpose for being, or your greatness, or your goodness, or the fact that even though we make mistakes, that we can bounce back from them or make different choices or choose to make different choices, you will find that your life won't be as fulfilling or enjoyable, right? And so we get to edit our thoughts by paying attention to what they are. What are you thinking about yourself, right? What what meaning are you giving to the experiences that you have had in life? Do you believe in yourself, right? And then we get to reflect and reassess, then adjust, align, and realign. And why do we say align and realign? Because some of our thoughts need to be completely aligned because they're completely out of alignment with your true self and who God truly says you are. And then sometimes we have to realign, meaning we were at one point in alignment with God saying we're worthy, with God reminding us that we have everything we already need to do whatever God has called us to do. Right. We may have at one point believed that, but then experiences or failure or the wrong voices got into our head and we got off track. So we may need to realign our thoughts back to who the source of all things says that we are and that we're capable of, right? That we don't have to perform for love. We are love, made from love to love. We don't have to do anything to make ourselves worthy of goodness and respect and love. The fact that we are born, we're breathing, we deserve it, right? So we talked about that. And so you might want to go back and watch some of the replays. Yes. And then we talked about, when we're dealing with those thoughts, whose voices are you hearing? Whose voice are you hearing? Sometimes the way we behave is based on feelings we've had from thoughts that we've got that aren't even ours. They were taught to us in our family of origin, or teachers, or people early on, people that we've trusted, right? Good or bad, whether they betrayed that trust, whatever it is, and we gave meaning to those experiences, and those voices are still in our head that then sometimes become subconscious, that our actions are not based on present thoughts but old thoughts that become subconscious. So if you had thoughts that were given to you that you were not enough, that you didn't measure up, and sometimes it's not even words, sometimes it's somebody's actions that we assume or create a narrative about their actions towards us, and that's the story and the thoughts we have in our heads. So we begin to act a certain way, but it wasn't a voice of truth, right? So you have to ask yourself, whose voice am I hearing? Whose voice am I still governing my life by, and my emotions by, my decisions and my actions, right? What are those thoughts about yourself, your place in the world? And do you feel like you matter? And sometimes for women in midlife, because the world's culture and opinion has always been about youth and a certain standard of beauty, and especially ageism, that as you get older, as if you don't have a place or you don't matter. And so that's why we're always doing anti-aging, always trying to go back, always trying to stay a certain place, because subconsciously we've been taught that once you hit a certain age, once you can't do certain things anymore, you're no longer valuable, right? And if you have those thoughts in your head, you either keep trying to go backwards, or you feel like you're stuck and that it's too late, or you've missed out and there's nothing you can do. And you need to figure out what it is you are saying to yourself and how it's making you feel, right? That's good. Yes. All right. So then we talked about we need to observe our thoughts. I asked you to, I don't know if y'all did your inner work, but I asked you to do some inner work, to pay attention to yourself for the next 3 days after the last time we were in the meditation room. I said, observe your thoughts. Observe your feelings, your attitude, how your body's feeling, your actions, and to line them up to what kind of thoughts are you thinking. Did y'all do that? Did you do your inner work? Did you try it? Somebody tell me whether you tried it. Right? Because I want you to observe. Remember, I said when I started out that we are not our thoughts. We get to observe our thoughts and adjust them accordingly, right? And then if there's some things we can't identify, we go to source and we ask Holy Spirit, where did this come from? Where is this coming from? Show me the root of this and how I can adjust and change it, because we need to say, well, when we get these thoughts, is that based in truth? Or is that based on someone else's opinion, or someone trying to manipulate you, or someone telling you something for their comfort, for their advantage, and not yours? Right? So, yeah. And so then we need to adjust what we're thinking and what we're saying. And we might need to reframe what we're saying, right? So if you're having thoughts that say, oh man, see, I messed up again. I can't even get this thing right. I can't ever get things right, or I'm always late, or I'm always wrong, or I'm always missing it, or I'm always falling short. We need to reframe that thought and reframe what we say as a result of that thought, right? If you're thinking that you're always missing it, you're always a day late and a dollar short, you have to reframe it and say, is this affecting my life negatively or positively? And if it's negatively, then you have to reframe that thought to say, I may have missed some things, but I am not a failure. I may have messed up in certain areas, but that is not my identity. I get to reframe what I'm saying about myself, how I'm feeling about myself, right? That's good. You get to reframe. Just take a moment and breathe, right? Because sometimes your mind and emotions start rolling when we get to talking, and you can even feel it in your body. So just take a deep breath in, y'all, and exhale. Because you can handle it, because this is God. This is good God stuff coming to you and me to help us heal, to help us be whole, right? And to help us live the best life that we possibly can in this earth, to continue to let days go by without us growing and coming back home to ourselves, right? Woo! All right, so where are we? We are ready now to talk about what we're going to talk about to close us out for this, not our series of radical reset conversations, but starting off with a radical mindset reset, right? So, when we're talking about what your mindset, if you've gotten to this place and you're like, I don't even know what that is, what does that mean? It just really means your pattern of thinking and reasoning based on your experiences, your exposure, and your education. It's your perception of yourself, other people, and the context around you. Let's say that again, right? What your mindset is your pattern of thinking and reasoning based on your experience, your exposure, your education. It's your perception of yourself and people, right? And the world around you, your mindset. Some people, we can say, have a negative mindset, or a pessimistic, or always positive mindset. It's the way they see the world, it's the way they process and the way they reason. It's a set way or fixed way of thinking. You know how we say, oh my God, they're so closed-minded. They don't like anything new. They don't, that is a mindset. That's a way of thinking and being. And I don't like nothing new. I don't want to try nothing new. I don't want to go anywhere. That's a mindset. If everything you see and feel and think about is seen through a prism of fear and smallness, then that is a mindset, right? And so we're talking about this in midlife. Anywhere, it used to be 35 to 60, or 35 to 65, right? And it is changing, sometimes even 40, but that's even really too late. Really, it can start as early as 30, because every woman's journey is unique and different. But for us as women of color, in particular, African American women, our midlife can happen earlier, because we have a tendency to start our menses earlier, or our menarche, it starts earlier. And so we then also tend to begin to experience the symptoms of perimenopause. And sometimes it is just maturity and aging, and sometimes it's symptoms of menopause that begins to happen early on, right? And so, while we're talking about a radical mindset reset in midlife, because get this, y'all, because in midlife, this is usually the time when hidden or suppressed experiences and emotions come to the surface. Why? Because we're often looking back over our lives and questioning the decisions we've made. Things begin to change. If you've had children, maybe they're grown and they're on their own. They don't need you the way they used to need you. Or you're realizing you might be in a season where you can no longer have children, or if you're in a season where you've dealt with some illness and your body is changing, right? It is all kinds of transitions. It could be the death of a loved one, it could be having to change a job career, or a change in relationship status that's been painful. All of these things happen during this time. And that's not to say those things don't happen earlier than 30. It can, but we're talking specifically about what we term the midlife season. And what happens often is that we begin to think about our mortality and what that means for us. And we begin to think about our parents and their history and what has gone on with them. We begin to think about dreams we've had and didn't come to pass, or things that happen, and all those things begin to come up because this season tends to make those things begin to surface. Mm, right? And it requires us to face them and choose to either change and heal and evolve, or continue to suffer and live a diminished, unfulfilled life. That's why we're dealing with our mindset, because we begin to often have to deal with emotions and experiences that may have been traumatizing or life changing. They resurface. Or if you've lost your voice, if you've been muffled and haven't felt like you've been heard or seen, right? Maybe you poured your whole life into your children and your family or your parents or whatever the case may be. And then you realize you don't even know who you are anymore. You don't even know what you want. You don't know what you like. You ask somebody, ask you a question, you pretty much just going with the flow, because you don't even know what you like. You don't even know what's your favorite. You don't even know what makes you feel good or bring you joy. You've lost touch with the fullness of who you are. And midlife is a time where those things come rushing back often, because that's how God designed it. It is a spiritual, physical, physiological, emotional awakening that happens. And you have to confront your mind. Ooh, y'all, can I tell you, it doesn't just happen. You have to be vigilant, intentional, and do the work for a healthy mind, meaning healthy thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And here's the thing, it is so challenging for us as women in this season, because the physiological changes that are happening to shift us to another place in our life, to prioritize ourselves, is usually the time where we experience the greatest confidence and ready to start things and try new things and shift our whole lives, right? And we no longer have patience for things that keep us in a box or controlled or labeled, and you trying to figure out what is going on with me. That is your whole mind, spirit, soul, and body rewiring for a new powerful season in your life. And a lot of times it's that perfect storm of hormones and context. Where are you in your life? Who's in your life right now? Who are you responsible for right now? What are the things that are pulling at you and pulling on your energy? And then it's your hormones. Your estrogen and progesterone begin to decline, and it causes a lot of changes. And in particular, right, your mood, mm, your feelings, your thoughts, right? This is the season where a lot of women deal with melancholy, midlife, menopausal blues, or depression. It happens, right? That is you feel anxious and anxiety about your future. What does my future hold? Have I done enough in the past and in the present to sustain me in the years to come? All of that comes to a head, right? And so we need to make sure we surrender to the radical reset that is happening, that begins in our mind, right? So, what does it mean to have a healthy mindset or a healthy mental state, right? Here's some things um, to mull over, right? Do you respond appropriately to any given situation? In other words, when there's a loss, or somebody dies, or there's a change that creates a loss, or if something happens that's good, if you cry when it's something sad, and sometimes we even cry when it's something good, and we know the difference between those two types of tears. If you mourn, if you grieve, right? If you're angry or whatever, is that appropriate for the situation, right? Sometimes we have to know if we are dealing with some undealt with or handled emotions or experiences or trauma when we are not responding appropriately, right? So if you're driving the car and somebody pulls in front of you or don't put their blinker on and you are screaming and cussing at the top of your lungs and wanting to follow them and ranting and raving for the next half hour to an hour, that's not necessarily an appropriate response to that. You can be upset or you can be angry and frustrated if somebody did something and you respond, oh my God, that was horrible. They did that. That was so selfish. That was dangerous. That was, and then you move on. But if everything is a fight, or if everything is causing you to emote in a way that's not appropriate for the situation, you might need to figure out what's going on and get some help, right? Can you manage life's challenges, right? Meaning, when challenges come, do you have the skill and the wherewithal to manage difficult seasons, or do you completely shut down? Or do you blame everybody but yourself if that's it? Or do you take all of the blame and try to fix it for everybody, right? Can you be challenged in life and manage difficult seasons of your life, right? Can you have a conversation? Can you work with your family members and siblings and other people to get through a difficult season? Or is that hard? Do you just go off? Do you shut down? Do you give up? Do you throw in the towel? Do you, what are the responses to life? Can you overcome challenging situations, right? That means feel it as it is and then do what needs to be done to get through it, which sometimes includes getting help or therapy, right? So we're talking about having skills or the emotional intelligence and resilience. That's a sign of a healthy mind. Emotional intelligence, the ability to read a room and know how to behave in that room and not take what somebody else is saying and or doing personally as an affront to you all the time, right? So emotional intelligence, to know what to say and what not to say in any given situation, right? Not making excuses for saying things that hurt people's feelings, right? And then make excuses to say that's just who I am. I gotta keep it real all the time. But what you're doing is lashing out at people, right? So that emotional intelligence, that resilience, right? Dealing with feelings of depression and or anxiety. Have you lost the zeal for life and being, right? And you know it. Where are you? Are you on both ends of the spectrum and not coming back to the middle emotionally? Are you always catastrophizing something? Oh, I love that word, but I always have some challenge when I'm saying. But you know how when something is a catastrophe, right? The word where we always make something a catastrophe is, do we always catastrophize something, or are we on the whole other end of the spectrum and deal with toxic positivity? Meaning you just see the positive in everything, no matter what it is. It is just, all is going to be well, all is good. You completely overlook and bypass the proper emotional steps to acknowledge when you're in pain, or if you're constantly trying to over spiritualize it and say, oh, it's good, all is well, all things work together for good, and on the inside you're breaking. That is the stuff where we're talking about dealing with, so that we can be whole and healed in this season. Ooh, are y'all with me? I can. Ooh, this is this. Ooh, y'all, radical mindset reset. It's available, but it's a process and sometimes it takes time. Woo, I write about that in the book. When I first started, what I say, hitting up against a brick wall, it took some time to unravel all of those emotions. It took some time to say, where is this behavior coming from? It takes time, right? And give yourself time, give yourself compassion and grace. The same thing that you give to other people, give it to yourself, right? I want to simplify it. Feel, verbalize, manage. Feel, verbalize, manage. Share. Whether you're journaling, get it out, whether you have that sister friend who is non-judgmental that can hold space for you in that moment. And to hold space for somebody, y'all, is serious, and it is such a gift. When you hold space for someone that's going through, that means it is just a non-judgment sounding board. It's not for opinions, it's not for fix-its, it's not for any of that. And that's a gift we all have to learn how to give each other as allies and sister friends, is to hold space. We need people to hold space for us, and we need to be able to hold space for other people so that we can have a radical mindset reset that will uh, line up with where we want to see ourselves in this season in our lives. Does that mean things got to be perfect? Absolutely not. Things won't ever be perfect. But the key is, can you still find joy? Can you still be present in the moment? Can you still appreciate what is? Can you still be grateful for what you do have? Ooh, y'all, because I have a tendency sometimes to be like, oh, but what about, or what? And it will rob me of the joy of that moment because I didn't realize that sometimes I will feel guilty when I was having a great day or I was just blessed with something or I had something. And the Holy Spirit said, you need to stop doing that. You need to learn how to accept the joy of the moment because other moments are going to come. They may not be as joyful, but may be challenging. So don't be embarrassed or ashamed or shut off the joy because you feel guilty, right? Or you're comparing yourself to someone else. Nope. Learn how to enjoy fully that joy of that moment and that day, the blessing of that experience. And I'm telling you, we all have more to be grateful for than we think we do. And if we start writing down the blessings that we have, the things we take for granted, y'all. You got a dishwasher in your house with stuff to put in it to clean dishes. Hallelujah. Thank you. You got a more than one pair of shoes. You got more than one pair of underwear and a bra to put on, even if you need to get a new one, but you got one. Y'all, I might be, using a little hyperbole, but I'm saying there are so many small things that we take for granted, right? That we can hear and process in our mind, that we have thoughts that even though they may be scattered, or even though we may be dealing with brain fog from time to time, it could be completely different. So be thankful, right? And when you are going through this process of midlife with the needing a radical mindset reset, it's okay. Give yourself the freedom, come on, y'all, to refocus on that which matters to you, your purpose, and your well being. And your mind, sister, is important, that it is healthy and well, that it is not full of negative thoughts that lead to negative thoughts about negative feelings and thoughts and behaviors, right? And you find yourself in a vicious cycle, right? We get to realign, we get to reframe them, y'all. We are not stuck. And so learn to feel, learn to verbalize what you're feeling, deal with it. Because a lot of times we talk ourselves through to our healing. through a realization of where we are, of what's going on, right? So feel, verbalize, and then manage it. What do you need to do? Do you need to reframe? Do you need to go to therapy? Do you need to forgive? Do you need to let go? Do you need to have a come to Jesus conversation with somebody, even if it's yourself? Woo, Lord, Lord, Lord. I need a drink of water on that. Woo! Y'all, thank y'all for hanging out with me. I just pray and trust and believe that this conversation, these radical reset conversations, are empowering you, are enlightening and strengthening you. Look, I love it how I can look. See, y'all see this? Y'all see this? Y'all see that? Woo! I have learned to reframe my thoughts about these menopausal symptoms. When you have hot flashes and sweats and stuff happening right in the middle of what you're doing, right in the middle of your purpose. Mm, y'all, this thing ain't no joke, but I refuse to let it take me down. This too shall pass. I'm gonna leave them on just so y'all can see it. So y'all know you're not by yourself. You are not alone in this thing. Woo, the struggle is real, but the struggle ain't gonna take us down because we have a radical mindset reset. I get to say something different about this. Amen. This is my body resetting for me to live in the best time of my life because it's gonna come a time where I'm not dealing with it, right? Woo, maybe it's burning up all the stuff in there that don't need to be. I love it. Woo, don't y'all say it? Don't y'all say it? Ain't that wild? I love it. All right, so we are closing out just this segment. We are not closing out the radical reset conversation starting in October. Well, first let me say I'm so excited that this weekend is the Serenity Experience. That's uniquely curated experience for women in midlife. Woo, y'all. It's going to be powerful. We're going to the Pearl Modern Spa and Boutique in Columbia, Maryland, and we're going to have some major conversations. We are going to be talking about the way of the lotus, how to deal with disruption, the disruption of this season in our life. We're going to talk about rising like the phoenix. How do we come through? How do we come back from the ashes of those of a life in the past and moving forward and giving birth to our new selves. Woo, y'all. And we're going to talk about I am Hippolyta. This is so good. The power to name yourself and to walk and reclaim your own agency and autonomy. I love it. It's going to be powerful. We're going to have some laughter, some tears, some aha moments, some enlightenment, and just being in the company of each other is going to be amazing. Yes. Look at that, y'all. I'm feeling better. I'm cooling off, but my glasses are like, I just want to stay steamed up. Woo! And our VIP session on Friday night, we're having a hormone happy hour PJ party. We're going to be dealing with emotions, hot flashes, libido. Oh my, we're going to be talking about hormones. My guest is going to be Dr. Marcia Levi. I'm so excited about her coming. I got to find another word for excited because I'm always using the same word. I need to get a what's the book when you can look up synonyms to words and stuff like that? Yeah, I need one of those. So I can find me a new word for excited. It's gonna be awesome. So the following Monday, we're gonna talk about our time at the Serenity Experience. I'm gonna have some guests, I'm gonna have some of the registrants join me, facilitators join me. We're gonna talk about it because we want to share. If you can't be there, we're gonna share it. And then get ready for next year. Make sure you are in the place. So I want to remind you also that October is coming up, and October is Menopause Awareness Month. So we're just going to be throwing out some amazing facts, and I'm going to be introducing you to some other voices that are in this menopausal midlife space that's doing some amazing things. Share with you some of the resources and products that are coming out that's there to assist and help us. Have some guests on because we're going to focus on our physical well-being, our bodies. We're going to talk about that black body magic. We're going to talk about the radical reset on what to do with our bodies in this season. I'm already setting up for a radical reset for myself, and you can follow along. I'm not inviting you to do the same things I'm doing, but think about it, pray about it. What is it that you need to do for your body for optimal health for this season? October is a perfect time to do it, right? And then Wednesday, October 18th, is Menopause Awareness Day. In the past few years, we've done what we call the Menno Lounge. This year, we're going to do the Menno Lounge, but it's going to be virtual. We're going to have some guests. We're going to have some fun. We're going to dance. We're going to have a good time in that virtual Minnow Lounge. And then look for some more opportunities for the Minnow Lounge. I'm calling it the Minnow Lounge on the Move. We've been to the yoga studio. We've had a night of joy. We had a night of self-love. And so we're going to continue that as well as we move forward. So put on your calendar Wednesday, October 18th for our virtual Menopause Awareness Day at 8 o'clock, and we're going to have a ball. So look for that. Thank y'all for joining me for Mondays in the Meditation Room. A thesaurus, thank you. I'm going to give me a thesaurus because I need some other words besides excited. Woo, because that actually is an understatement by how I feel. So, 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 so happy. Thank y'all. Make sure you just take a deep breath and release it. Take a moment to sit with yourself in silence. Put the 5 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 8 minute, 10 minute timer on your phone and just sit with yourself in silence and get in touch with you. Right? Take a deep breath in and release it because it's been a lot over these last 4 weeks. Go ahead and watch the replays and take notes and see where it applies to you and see where you can implement some of those things so that you can have a healthy mind in this season that allows you to navigate this season and to flourish. I absolutely love y'all. Thank y'all for joining me on tonight, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Follow me on IG at The Enlightened Woman or Kelly B. Hayes, right? Facebook, The Enlightened Woman, and it's kind of interchangeable. My Kelly B. Hayes page, and I'm trying to decide if I want to do TikTok. I don't know. I don't know if I want to put another thing on my plate. I'm learning how to manage my energy, right? And so I just want to get the word out to help us as we go through this most magnificent season of our lives. I love y'all. Get some good rest, and I'll see y'all again real soon. Bye, y'all.